Congressman Kevin Brady is on this week's Houston Newsmakers with news of a bill he's pushing on Capitol Hill that has bipartisan support to help police, firefighters, and teachers, what it is and how it can help. African-American women die at a rate of 42% higher than white women from breast cancer. The Sisters Network is working to change that. Its founder is here this morning. And it's almost time for the 28th annual Houston Children's Festival. Who benefits and how you can help. This morning on Houston Newsmakers.
From KPRC Channel 2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Khambrel Marshall.
And good morning and welcome to Houston Newsmakers. A little bit of a different start to this week's program. Congressman Kevin Brady, who is chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, couldn't make today's taping of the program, but we still talked about something that's very important to him. He's working on a bill in Congress that has great promise, and if passed, will have a tremendous benefit for many of those who have dedicated their lives to helping others. Here's part of our conversation. Congressman Kevin Brady represents the 8th Congressional District. He is the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee. Recently held hearings on a bill that you are really excited about. Has something to do with Social Security and what you look at as really an travesty, maybe? I mean,
really unfair. Really, you and I work a lifetime in Social Security. Pay in, we get a letter that says, you know, when you retire and get Social Security, you'll get this much a month. But when teachers and police and firefighters get the same letter and they plan to retire, they often get a real poor surprise. They find out they can be docked up to $400 a month from Social Security because of a formula from the 1980s.
And so how did that formula come about? I mean, obviously there must have been something going on at that time where it seemed like it might have been a decent idea.
Well, you're so right. At the time, they were trying to reform Social Security, so they were looking at different people and those who earn pensions, those who pay into Social Security, those who have certain jobs, and they came up with a formula they thought was right at the time. Turned out to be very wrong, and over the years has sort of treated teachers, police, and firefighters with a one-size-fits-all formula that really docks them when you're a teacher and you've paid into, for example, the Texas retirement system, but you have a summer job, or you had a first career, or maybe a last career. Police and firefighters who were working a second, and in some cases a third job, and they pay into Social Security. Well, this formula actually, and I don't think it was intended to necessarily, docks them a lot of money. It's not fair, and we've always said, and I've worked on this for many years, why don't we treat teachers, police, and firefighters just like everyone else? Why don't they get equal treatment and fairness in Social Security? And when you apply that principle, good things happen.
Well, I got a pension. I've got a pension now, but that doesn't apply to me. It's only the state employees, municipal employees.
Certain people who pay not into a Social Security plan, but a substitute for Social Security. For example, the teacher retirement system would be a great example. This happens in California, Ohio, Louisiana, across the country. They're paying the equivalent of Social Security just into a substitute. And as a result, this formula, again, inadvertently hammers them, frankly. And so it's not representative, it's not fair, and it's certainly not equal treatment.
Well, it sounds good on paper. How is it actually forming up now in reality in terms of what's going on the Hill? Yeah,
really, we have good news. This is a complex problem, especially when you're dealing with Social Security. So I've worked for more than a decade to find a solution, and I would describe it as I've turned that Rubik's Cube over and over and over again to find that right solution, and we've done that. And we have worked closely with teachers, police, and firefighters across the country, and especially here in Texas. We got tremendous help from the Texas Retired Teachers Association, Association of Texas Professional Educators. Even our Houston Police and Firefighters groups have helped us shape this solution, and it's bipartisan. We have strong support. My co-leader is a Democrat from Massachusetts. We've built broad support, and here's maybe the best thing. It's equal treatment, which is really critical principle, I think. It restores to a teacher, for example, retired today or one in the future, as much as $20,000 or more of their Social Security that they earned in their lifetime, and then maybe more importantly, it makes Social Security stronger. So this doesn't take away from the fund, it actually strengthens it, and that's really been the key.
So what are the chances for this passing, and how long does this process take from where it is now? Even if everything is great, how long would it take to make this happen?
It's difficult to say. We kicked it off with a hearing in the Ways and Means Social Security Subcommittee. Terrific hearing, got exactly the testimony we wanted. That was a critical first step. The next will be to pass it through my Ways and Means Committee, send it to the House floor. Of course, it has to go through the Senate and to the White House. And it is a tough political environment in these election years. It can be very difficult, but we've opened discussions both in the Senate and with the White House about this bill, are getting very favorable responses. And so I'm cautiously optimistic that we can move it through this year.
Long term, that would mean good things for the Houston area, could it not? I mean, the city of Houston is battling all kinds of issues, and a lot of it has to do with pension issues. Perhaps if the Social Security issue were resolved, maybe that gives some wiggle room as far as the pensions are concerned.
You know, I hadn't thought about what that connection may be. What I do know for certain is that a teacher who worked her whole life, worked many summer jobs, maybe worked after she retired, who gets docked her Social Security today, will get back a good portion of that Social Security. So it's going to make their monthly lives and in those retirement checks just a little better.
Maybe you will be responsible for getting everybody on Capitol Hill singing Kumbaya.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know, if you find the right principles and you work with people who have the same goal, you can do good things. Yeah. I'm just convinced of it.
Local firefighters, police, and teachers will be looking at this one very closely as the city of Houston continues to look for ways to work with those in pension plans, while also looking to ease some of the burdens that make the Houston financial landscape a bit more rocky these days. We'll be watching for the progress of this bill and hope you will too. It's called the Equal Treatment of Public Servants Act, H.R. 711. It proposes repealing the current rules and treating all workers the same, public and private, when it comes to retirement benefits. Well, it's time to stop the silence about the way African-American women are dying at a much higher rate from breast cancer. We'll do that with Karen Jackson, founder and CEO of the Sisters Network. Next, when Houston Newsmakers continues. And welcome back to Houston Newsmakers, where I'm joined by Karen Jackson, the founder and CEO of the Sisters Network, an organization started in 1994. That's a long time ago.
A long time.
A lot of stuff has been done since then. And it was started here in Houston. Now it's grown to where there are survivor-run affiliate chapters in 22 states. Good morning, Karen. Good to see you.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Glad to see you as well. And once again, we're ready to have another event, Stop the Silence Walk. But first I want to talk about the Sisters Network. What was the inspiration? What was it that made you turn the corner and be inspired to start this organization?
Well, Khambrel, I was diagnosed in 1993. And I wanted to pick up the phone and join an organization like Sisters Network. So I just thought I'd call a toll-free number and join a sisterhood of African-American women for breast cancer. None existed. And that was quite a shock to me because I knew it was necessary. And being who I am and raised as a community-type person, I just said, well, I want to join. We need an organization, and Sisters Network was formed.
And it's growing, growing, growing. A couple of years ago, we did a segment on Sisters Network, and
yes.
One of our viewers wrote to me and said, you know, why do you have to have an organization created?
Your viewers still say that.
Well, sometime about an organization for African-American women, but talk about what it is that makes breast cancer in African-American women special and different from what's going on in the rest of society.
Well, Khambrel, what's going on is that we are being diagnosed earlier than age 40 in a larger numbers than other groups. And we aren't getting the services that we need in order to save our lives and have a better quality of life. Not only is access a problem, but in our community too, the fear of cancer keeps us from even finding out, you know, through the early detection programs that Sisters provides.
Is economics a part of it in terms of?
It's multifaceted. Mm-hmm. Economics does affect it, and that's why when newly diagnosed African-American women, they call us because breast cancer is not in anyone's budget, but so we're able to help in that sense too. You know,
the statistics I saw indicated that mortality rates among African-American women was 42% higher than whites. This is from the 2012 statistics. Yes. What kinds of things are you seeing in the research that either indicates the reason for that kind of disparity? We talked about the fact that
every year we talk about what are the reasons, and they haven't changed, Khambrel. Unfortunately, the only thing that we can say is early detection can save your life and give you a better quality of life should you be diagnosed. So that's what we try to make sure our community understands. It's up to us to get find the disease early, and of course go through the journey of treatment.
But that's what your network does, is it not?
Yes.
To make sure they get awareness, have women more aware about where they can go to get tested to get it.
It's awareness, support to not only the survivor but to the family, and resources to help them understand and be directed in the proper way. We navigate women through the system.
So the name Stop the Silence for the walk, run that comes up, Stop the Silence, where did that name come about? What does that represent?
Early on, when I started Sisters Network, I noticed that women weren't talking about breast cancer, and they did not want to receive the information as readily as some other groups. But that's changed. I have to say that our community is very receptive now, and things are changing for the better.
Well, and certainly there's no excuse about at least not having the information out there. You're doing a great job of getting that information out there.
Well, our network working throughout the country is doing an excellent job. The women are passionate. They stay tuned to what's going on in the communities that they serve, and direct women to the necessary treatments that they need.
What kind of validation is it for you and the inspiration you had originally to now notice that you have these chapters in 22 different states?
Well, interestingly enough, when I did start, women would see me coming and they'd go the other way. They didn't want to hear the message.
Is that
And
right?
now I can tell you that it's a big difference. The message is being readily received across the country, and Sisters Network is being welcomed in the community.
And you have some big hitters out there for your event coming up. The mayor's going to be there. You have Congressman Green out there.
Congressman Green is back again as our honorary chair. Now we have a chair, Myrtle Jones, and Myrtle is a survivor also, and she's a senior VP with Halliburton in the tax department. So we're happy that we're attracting wonderful, wonderful people.
I want to put the information up there. It's the Stop the Silence Walk and Run. It's on Saturday, April 16th. At Discovery Green. I know it's a big event, and that's that you take over the park when you do
Yes,
that.
thousands of people from all over the country, and they can register at the sister house itself, or they can register at the park.
At 7:30 is registration. I know that starts there. The ceremony starts at 9. The events kick off at 10. And certainly I encourage people to go to the sistersnetworkinc.org. That's the website.
Yes.
Or call the number 713-781-0255. We'll get some folks out there. It's going to be, I'll do what I can to make the weather good, too.
Okay, that would help.
Karen, it's always good to see you again.
Thank
you for all you do.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, 1 week later, after the walk is going on, there's another major festival that'll take over downtown. It's the 28th annual McDonald's Houston Children's Festival. It benefits child advocates. The special guests this year and much more when Houston Newsmakers continues.
From KPRC Channel 2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Khambrel Marshall.
For 27 years, it's been a focal point for thousands here in Houston with a focus on our children. This year, the 28th annual McDonald's Houston Children's Festival, presented by Baker Hughes, promises to be bigger and better, and that's good news for child advocates. Joining me this morning, Beth Harp, whose mother started the festival, and Suzanne Ronnie with Child Advocates, the beneficiary of the event. I said it was going to be bigger and better. I have no idea, but I'm just thinking it and hoping it will be true.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
So tell me about this event. You were there when this thing first started. What was the passion that your mom had for this event?
I was. Well, Child Advocates was originally started to serve abused and neglected children in the Harris County system to get them in safe, permanent homes as quickly as possible and out of the system. And they wanted to start a fun event to attract the Houstonians to learn more about Child Advocates and their mission and recruit volunteers, and to provide a fun, free activity for the Houston community. And so it started many, many years ago out in front of the George R. Brown Convention Center. It was just a very small event with Bozo the Clown and a few other activities.
And that was like a parking lot where Discovery Green.
Yes, absolutely,
yeah.
yes. Discovery Green was not there.
I remember that parking lot.
Yes,
that space.
And we had about 5,000 people the first year. And now it is the nation's largest children's festival, benefiting child advocates and attracting more than 50,000 people each year.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, who would have thought? I mean, would you have ever envisioned that it would turn into this kind of event?
Absolutely not, but it's just been such a blessing for the city and for child advocates.
Let's talk about child advocates. What is it about this organization that makes it so special, so unique, and so needed for our community?
Yes, Child Advocates is an organization that, like Beth said, started in 1984 here in Harris County. And the special thing about Child Advocates is we train advocates to speak up for kids that need a voice in court. And so what the advocate does is they go out and they meet with that child and they make sure that that child gets everything that they need. And also what they do is they'll look for potential relatives. Maybe they can find somebody where the child can be placed and actually be living while their parents are getting services.
How does someone get involved as a volunteer for Child Advocates, and what kind of service would that be? What would that look like?
Okay. How you can get involved is first off to go to our website and sign up. You go to www.childadvocates.org and you sign up for an orientation. We really need volunteers. As you can imagine, there's nearly 4,000 kids in Harris County alone right now that have been abused and are neglected in foster care. And we need advocates to speak up for those kids in court.
This whole process, about how long does it take for training?
Training takes 30 hours. Your first step is you go to an orientation, which is about an hour, and it tells you more about becoming a court-appointed advocate. And then from there, you will go through 30 hours of training. You're sworn in by a judge, and then after that, you are paired up with an advocacy coordinator, which is a staff member that works with you as you're getting introduced to your child.
Sounds very rewarding. I imagine on the backside of that, there's nothing better than being able to be a successful advocate on behalf of a child. And now you have this big event, the festival itself. What kinds of things are going to be going on at this festival? 2 days worth of fun. I saw some video of face painting and all kinds of things. Kids can really enjoy this, but I think parents get a kick out of it.
Absolutely, they do. And we always say it's for the kid and the kid in you.
Yeah.
And so we have 5 stages of entertainment, and we have a full-fledged circus right out in front of City Hall. This year we're bringing the Ninja Turtles, which everybody loves. And we also, the Jungle Book movie's coming out, and we also are bringing the Jungle Book characters. We've got stormtroopers, and we actually have a Disney celebrity this year. Her name is Dove Cameron, who is also coming. We've got games and rides, over 300 games and rides out there that people can come and enjoy. And the wonderful thing about this event is it's affordable for the family. It's only $12 at the gate.
$12?
Yeah.
That's it? You got to raise your prices up a little bit.
And children under 3 are free.
Okay.
And you can go to any McDonald's and get a receipt anytime during the month of April coming up, and that gets you $2 off at the gate. We also have tickets on sale at Fiesta and Orange Leaf Yogurt. So for $10 pre-sale.
There's a lot going on, and that's why everybody, there's no reason why everybody in all of Southeast Texas shouldn't be there. You have 2 days worth, right?
We have 2 days worth, April 23rd and 24th. And the event will run from 10:30 to 6:30 both days, and all the details can be found on our website at www.houstonchildrensfestival.com.
And I've had it up on the screen the whole time you've been talking about it, so people could see that. Go to that website. I went to that, and you get all kinds of information about what you can need. It's going to be fabulous. All of downtown is going to be taken over. Hopefully, we'll have good weather for that.
Absolutely.
But rain or shine, you're going to do
Rain or shine, we're there, but we're ordering up that good weather.
I like that. Beth, thank you so much. Suzanne, thank you for what you do. Congratulations ahead of time for what's going to be a fabulous event.
Thank you
very much.
Coming in. Final thoughts when we come back on the civility or lack of it in the Republican presidential primary from someone who's had plenty of experience taking part in that process. That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues. At the start of this program, we heard from Congressman Kevin Brady, who represents the 8th Congressional District and is chair of one of the most powerful committees in Congress, the House Ways and Means Committee. I didn't want to let him go without asking him about what clearly is the surprising tone of the Republican presidential primary. What's your concern now? Who are you backing in this down the stretch fight?
I've never endorsed in a primary, a Republican primary. I let the voters decide.
Okay.
I'll continue to do that. Here's my thinking, though. I don't know if this goes into a convention without someone who's secured the nomination, but my thinking is, my belief is, one, we the people ought to make that choice. So those primary voters who've been in this process and those delegates from states like Texas, they ought to make the choice. And that choice ought to be from someone who's had their hand raised in that arena, you know, fighting for that nomination. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to back this ticket. I'm hopeful we can turn this country around. It is a bit unprecedented, no question about it, but I have some faith that we'll come out with the right ticket.
Are you disappointed in the direction it's taken in terms of its sophomoric, junior high kind of tweets, your wife kind of junk? I mean, no one can really look at that and say, oh, this is great.
The answer is yes, and I think in all the debates we've seen, some of them, you know, have been frankly very enlightening. Others, in too many others, just the opposite. Look, this is the leader of the free world we're choosing. This is the temperament, the discernment, the values that will actually shape our world for many generations to come. And so, boy, I'd like to see a different level of discussion on the big challenges facing the country. Frankly, I think we'd be better served if that was the case.
Hopefully we can get to that point. If you'd like to join our social media newsmakers conversation about this or any other subject, follow us on Twitter at KPRC Khambrel, #HOU Newsmakers. If there are subjects or stories you'd like for me to take on, you can do that very easily as well. Email me at HoustonNewsmakers@click2Houston.com. I'd like to thank my guests for joining me this morning, and of course to all of you for tuning in. If you'd like to get information about previous programs or get more information about today's program, very easy to do. Go to click2Houston.com, and under the news banner, click on Newsmakers. You can get all the contact information for the organizations we've been talking about on this program. By the way, next week among our topics, the Chinkapin School, an absolute gem in Southeast Texas that takes educating the economically disadvantaged to an unbelievably high level. You don't want to miss that. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you back here again next week.